Today, we'll be looking at the top 5 best football boot on the market for lockdown. You know, those football boots that really makes your foot feel securely locked into the boot itself, basically making the boot feel more connected to your foot and also giving the impression that the boot really reacts to your every little movement. Now, to a lot of people, the lockdown isn't as important, but if you care about lockdown, well, it can pretty much ruin a boot if it sucks in that area. Thankfully though, all the boots on this top 5 list are pretty good when it comes to said lockdown. Number 5 might be a bit of a surprise to some people because I've chosen the Mizuno Rebula 2 made in Japan, where Mizuno have made this new woven tongue construction that actually goes all the way underneath the insole board itself. Hopefully you can see it on the camera. And not only is it there to of course give you that seamless transition from boot to foot, but primarily it's really there to fixate your midfoot and lock it down securely on the plate. And when you combine that with the relatively secure fit you get from the heel counter, not only do you get top of the line comfort in the Rebula, you actually also get a surprisingly good lockdown, which goes on top that insane leather quality that these days kind of goes without saying for a Mizuno boot. Bit of a surprise, but very, very good. 4th place goes to either of the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3 Elite boots. Now for this top 5, I chose the DF version, but I could just as well have gone with the low cut option because both, they're pretty good when it comes to lockdown. Here you get a relatively tight fit where it feels like there isn't too much excess space around your foot. And also it feels like these here knitted brio cables that basically wrap around your entire foot and tighten up when you pull the laces tight to hold the foot in place. That they're doing a pretty good job because the foot doesn't really move that much inside the Hypervenoms. Now, as it is with all boots that have pretty good lockdown, if you pull your laces too tight, it can get uncomfortable. But if you pull them, should we say, normally, you get a good, well-balanced lockdown that's never uncomfortable. And that to me is pretty good. In 3rd, I've chosen the Adidas Nemesis 18.1, which I've, should we say, naturally chosen over the 18 Plus for one simple reason. It has laces. Now to be fair, the lockdown for a laceless boot is relatively good in the 18 Plus, but for me, it comes nowhere near the 18.1 in terms of the adjustable fit. And then of course, the solid secure lockdown you get in the Nemesis 18.1. It simply fixates your foot a little bit better. Well, to be fair, a lot better than the laceless 18 Plus does. And just like in the Hypervenom 3s, you really feel like there's no excess space around your foot for it to move in. And actually the lockdown in this boot is so good that at first I had to adjust my lacing a little bit because it got too tight and the lockdown was too aggressive. So if you do a lot of sharp changes of direction when you play, well, the Nemesis should definitely be in your consideration. Now, the Nike Mercurial boots sit in 2nd place because mostly of the anatomical sole plate, which, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a curved, slightly hollow sole plate, which compared to normal sole plates that are all flat, makes you feel like your foot is being actually pushed into the boot itself. Basically, it makes you feel like you're being securely locked down into the hollow cavities of the sole plate, so your foot is fixated so it can't move as much as it would be able to do on a completely flat plate. And when you put on top of that the relatively secure fit from the laces, you get a very good lockdown and a really, really responsive boot, both in the Superfly 6 and the Vapor 12 Elite. But what surprised me here was that I actually felt I got the best lockdown in the Mercurial range from the Vapor 12 Pro, because somehow the lockdown just feels a little bit more well balanced in the upper itself, making the Pro a super, extremely, hyper, uber responsive option. I mean, all the Mercurial boots are really good in that regard, but for me, there was just something about the Pro that I liked a lot. Now, for honorable mentions, I brought out the Puma 1 in leather, simply because of this here fuse fit technology that actually allows you to adjust your lacing system a little bit, so you can basically lock in the heel part of your foot a little bit better. And if you don't know, fixating the heel is actually one of the keys to give a better locked-in sensation, because if you can prevent the heel from moving, well, you basically prevent a large chunk of the foot from moving around too much. So if you want a little bit of extra lockdown, you can actually get that in the 1-1 in leather. Now, also special shout out to the Adidas Predator 18.1 and the Adidas X 18.1, which again both do a pretty good job of really fixating your heel in place, preventing it from moving too much. And they do so while also being extremely comfortable. And that's kind of the key these days. Give you a good lockdown while not being overly uncomfortable as well. So gone are the days back in the days, early 2000s, where lockdown really came at a price. It doesn't anymore. And with those words, let's move on to number 1. Because ladies and gentlemen, the best boot you can buy on the market when it comes purely down to lockdown is the Puma Future 2.1 Netfit, because of course, the Netfit technology, where you can quite simply customize your lacing system completely how you want it to match your foot shape and the way your foot actually moves inside of the boot. And despite the fact that the Future might not have the best heel lockdown on the list, the other fact that you can actually really go as deep as you want on the inside and the outside, or go deep on the outside, high on the inside, however you want it basically, is a really, really big plus when it comes to give you the optimal lockdown, both to accommodate for the shape of your foot, but also the way your foot pronates whenever you change direction. You can fix all that by simply customizing your lacing system to match the shape of your foot. I think you kind of get it. And for me, in terms of pure lockdown, this is as good as it gets. So there you go, my friends, 5 boots that will all give you very, very good lockdown if that's what you're looking for. Now, of course, I do realize that lockdown isn't everything. There's comfort, touch, and the ball, traction, all that jazz. But thankfully, all the 5 boots on the list, including the honorable mentions actually, are all very solid boots altogether. So keep that in mind. And also remember that just because your boot of choice isn't on the list, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna swim around inside of them. Got it? Good. Now do of course also keep in mind that if you're looking for new boots and you want something that gives you good lockdown, you can actually pick up all of the 5 boots on the list, including the honorable mentions, if you go to unisportstore.com by clicking the link right over there. Go treat yourself to a new pair of boots. You can also go and watch some more top 5s by clicking the playlist right down here. And then, if you're wondering, where can I see football gear videos, learn some new skills, and hear from the biggest stars on a more or less daily basis? Well, if you join the Unisport Life family by subscribing to our channel with the notifications on, of course, you can be among the first people to see our videos the moment they drop. So do it. It's just a pro tip. With that said, guys, I'm signing off. See you next time. Cheerio.